So this week I returned to Lower Silesia, which is rapidly becoming my favourite region in Poland, and we are going to go to two very impressive castles. We start with Kliczków Castle, which is Polish. Both of these castles are originally Polish, pretty much one of them sort of Czech, but they're wonderful. This is Czocha Castle, one of the best castles I have visited, full of myths and legends, some of which I will be sharing with you on this video. I think I managed to visit it just the right time, with the wonderful autumn reds emerging on the leaves. So please stay tuned. Dzień dobry and welcome to A Brit in Poland. This channel is going to bring you everything you need to know about Poland. I am exploring the country, bringing you the history, trying to tell you about the culture and show you what it is really like to live here. So feel free to check out my other media, Instagram, Facebook, and I will share links to those in the comments. I also have a website, www.britlivinginpoland.com, where I collate my videos for easy to view manner. Also, you are welcome to contribute to my efforts through Patronite or Patreon, and all descriptions are available below the video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and please come back for more by subscribing, liking, or commenting. Thank you very much. Do zobaczenia. So this video will take you to Lower Silesia, in the southwest of Poland. Starting out from Wrocław, to get to these two castles, we needed help. So we called on Poland Travel, a company that is based throughout Poland, and we hired a driver who helped us to get to these wonderful sites. So this was pretty much a full day trip to see both of these castles, but the trip was definitely worthwhile. So we start with Kliczków Castle, and according to legend, the castle in Kliczków received its current name when the stone stronghold was built on the Kwisa River. At that time, the castle guarded the only ford on the lower reaches of the river and closed the forest road from Lusatia to the country of Prince Mieszko. At that time, the castle was still made of wood. It played an extremely important role in defending Poland against Count Geron of the Eastern March, who wanted to plunder the country. There is a story about a certain knight. So there was a knight Tomir, and he was basically put in charge of the castle by Bolesław. And he left for a time to do some of his knightly duties. However, his wife, who he was given to raise children with, decided that she was going to be unfaithful. And she ended up with the administrator of the castle, Bogdar. And the two pretty much plotted the murder of our hero Tomir, who, when he returned, they tried to put him in the dungeon. He escaped and turned the tables by tricking Bogdar into thinking there was some hidden treasure, and he was ultimately put in dungeon along with the now ex-wife. It is said that he would feed them only every 3 days, and eventually Bogdar starved to death because he refused to eat, and the ex-wife was sent to a convent. And it is said that you can hear Czech whisperings from behind the walls. So the story of the origins of the castle, not in myth, are that it was started as a defensive stronghold by the pious Duke Bolko I at the end of the 13th century. And it was located in the largest forest complex in Europe and was part of the recently created border between the Czech Republic and the Duchy of Svidnica and Javor. These lands became the richest region in Silesia.
So another legend says that in the mid-14th century, the Czech Queen Anna ordered her treasures to be hidden here. The Rechenbergs knew about this and bought the castle in 1391. The new owners quickly began remodeling the castle, looking for gold at the same time. I don't believe they found any. It was ultimately included into the Czech crown, and the building would fall to knightly families, and it would see a reconstruction from a defensive fortress to a knight's court at the end of the 16th century. And it was also granted city and market rights at the time. Jenny Tower, which you would have seen previously in the video, was constructed in the first half of the 19th century as part of the reconstruction by Hans Christian Heinrich Hermann, and named after his daughter. Around the back you have a park which was designed around the end of the 19th century by Edward Petzold and was 80 hectares at the time. And we didn't get to see it, but there is a cemetery for horses and dogs. At the beginning of the 20th century, Kliczków was considered one of the most magnificent estates in the area. It was famous for its library of 20,000 volumes, including original works by Luther. The chambers were filled with antique Italian furniture, works of art, and hunting trophies. Over the years, the castle changed owners, which changed its appearance both inside and out. In 1920, it fell into the hands of the Solms-Baruch family, who lost their estate during World War II, I think because they tried to kill Hitler. During World War II, the castle wasn't directly impacted, at least, it wasn't destroyed. However, the furnishings were stolen by the Soviets in 1945, and subsequently the castle fell into disrepair. And a fire would consume the Cheladne wing and the coach house in 1949. In March 2000, a construction project was undertaken to restore the castle and adapt it to become a conference and recreation centre. The castle was used for conferences, a guest house, and for filming. A notable guest being Wilhelm II, who was invited for hunting during the reign of Duke Frederick Hermann Jan Jerzy, who became the owner in 1877, and is responsible for much of the castle's present shape. In modern times, there is an annual horse gala, which kind of celebrates the old hunting tradition of the castle. And actually, the food in the castle is based on historical dishes because there's a record which was preserved by a certain chef, J.G. Roosler. So it's quite an interesting place. It certainly took a bit of time to explore. You can get tours around the castle. Unfortunately, the one that we went on wasn't in English, but I think that was more a matter of timing than lack of availability. But certainly the place is definitely used as a hotel now, and there is plenty to see both inside and out. Now, next we're going to go to Czocha Castle, and this one is something quite special. I'm probably going to focus more on the myths and legends on this place because they're just really cool. But let's start with a bit of history. So it was built as a border stronghold on the Silesian-Lusatian border in the years 1241 to 1247 by the order of the Silesian Piasts, or the Czech king Wenceslas I, the Przemlid? I don't know. It's located on Lesznianskia Lake on a granite gneiss hill. Between 1319 and 1337, Henry I Jaworski basically inherited this castle after marrying Agnieszka, daughter of Wenceslas II. It would join to the Czech kingdom in 1346, and you can say it changed hands a lot after this, and it was rebuilt many times over the centuries, but ultimately maintained its unique romantic and mysterious spirit. Under von Uchritz-Nostitz, there were a few settlements established: Złoty Potok, Złotnicki, and Złoty Sen. Now, Złoty means gold, and this legend of gold potentially a lot of it, was said to allow the castle to be rebuilt into a fortified residence. So that's your first myth for you. It was ultimately conquered by the Hussites in the 16th century. And between the years 1521 and 1611, it was rebuilt into a Renaissance residence. In 1793, it suffered a great fire. In 1909, it was bought by Dresden manufacturer Ernest Gutschuh for about 1.5 million Deutschmarks. Yes, Deutschmarks. Then it was rebuilt with architect Bobo Ebhardt. After World War II, it said that some 10,000 immigrants from Greece were asylum there. Not that it was an asylum, but they were, looked after. And it said that the riches of the castle were plundered by a local mayor. It's said that he sold these on to America, but I think the real story is ultimately these went to Warsaw. So I don't think there are a lot of Polish riches hidden in America, but you never know. The castle buildings were used in the filming of the films Where is the General, Valley of Happiness, The Witcher, Beyond Sherwood Forest, Factory of Evil, and the series The Secret of the Cipher Fortress. It's a pretty impressive place, as you can see just from looking at the exterior. We haven't even got to the interior yet. It is absolutely full of secret passages. I think there's at least 12, maybe 20, something like that. Often hidden behind wooden panels and bookcases, and you'll see a few of those in action. So it is a massive labyrinth inside. So I'm going to try and tell you some of the myths, and hopefully you'll find these interesting. So there is the myth of the crying infant. So this legend has its roots in the 16th century and treats about of the time owner of the castle, Johann von Nostitz, and his chosen one, beautiful Ulrika. The woman had long curly blonde hair and blue eyes. They both loved each other very much. One day Joachim, who was the messenger, was sent for a mission by the king. He left overseas and returned after 2 years. After he came back, he was welcomed by the servants and the bridge with sad news that his wife gave birth to a son. So ultimately she was unfaithful, just to be clear. Joachim went down to the marble chamber where at the fireplace he was reflecting upon what to do. In the time the punishment for an unfaithful wife was death. He knew the custom, however he did not stop loving his wife and was unwilling to kill her. In the morning, the time to make a decision came, and with troubled wit, his wife's unfaithfulness, he ordered to throw her to the well, accordingly to the family tradition. And the baby was walled in alive, above the fireplace. Its cry is heard until today. So we have our next one, that twice a year from the well of the unfaithful wives located in the inner courtyard comes Ulrika's ghost and hurries to the marble chamber to appease her baby. The ghost symbolizes death and disease as well as a failure in life and poverty. The one that meets her on his or her way will experience a lot of suffering in his or her life. From the stories told by eyewitnesses, the view is terrifying, and the cry and wailing is even worse. She wanders in the castle looking for her lost baby. As the legend says, it is a figure of a blonde-haired woman with a cut and a dead face in dirty and torn clothes. Absolutely terrifying. We have the moan of the mourners. So behind the semicircular gate starts the tragic tale of ghosts connected with the bridge leading to the castle. In 1719, one of the masters of Czocha stronghold died. After the funeral service, the procession went to the nearby graveyard. In the moment when the procession was on the bridge, the construction collapsed and fell down, and part of the mourners fell too, crashing on the rocks. After this tragic history, a new, strong and solid bridge was built as it stands nowadays, but the moan can be heard as a recollection of that tragic event. So we have the legend of Greedy Anne. So, on the first floor, with a beautiful view on the main courtyard, there is an old Kliczkow's bedroom and an ancient bed with a canopy, which you saw a little earlier. Thanks to its masterpiece construction, with a trap door, quite a few women lost their lives here. The most often story told is one of the unhappy Annie, who was punished with cruelty for her greed and unbridled temper. Now aging but very rich owner of the castle took a liking to Annie very much and decided to marry her. Unfortunately, the woman agreed, but only because of the fortune. During the wedding night, she did not manage to hide disgust as she had towards her husband, and the offended man resolved on taking a revenge. He pulled a lever hidden by the bedhead, and the part of the bed where the bride lay fell in, knocking a young woman straight to the river Kvisa. The famous bed with a trapdoor can still be watched in the chamber in Czocha. Its secret, which was was a bricked-up dungeon, was discovered a few years ago during the renovation after World War II. According to another legend, this trapdoor was used by one of the owners during his wedding nights just to get rid of consecutive wives. So, as you can see, this castle is definitely worth the visit. Here you have some radio rooms where I guess the Nazis were operating from during World War II. And you have the treasury, which where the items were famously stolen from. And you will see the safe door here from which it was broken into. So even though this castle is not the easiest to get to, it is absolutely full of wonder. I've never seen so many secret passages in one place. Never heard so many legends associated with one place. And to be honest, I probably could have told you a couple more legends if the video was going to be longer. But I know you all have lives and you have plenty of other videos to watch or things to do. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed this castle like I have. Many more videos to come. Please like, please subscribe, and I will be back very shortly with more tales from Poland, perhaps one of the greatest countries I have ever seen. Thank you very much for watching. Do zobaczenia.